Hello, Pirate Dave here. It is another new comic book day. It's July 15th, 2026. Let's get right into it with some comic books. Up first is Lobo number 5. This is coming off the heels of the Summer of Supergirl special crossover story where Lobo and Kara had a little bit of a battle, and their two little canines had a nice little battle as well. It was continued in the Summer of Supergirl special, as mentioned, and resolved there too. It was charming, although diehard Lobo fans may find it a little bit sickeningly sweet, I think. But we're getting back into Lobo proper here, and looks like the return of Omega Entertainment Corp, the TV corporation that had handed Lobo his reality show. And I believe they ended up buying out all the bounty contracts in the universe, and that's what Lobo is now. Ooh, that's what Lobo is now doing. Reminds me of Lobo when he was a female in Lobo's Back. Really have been enjoying the series. It really does harken back to the original Lobo in terms of aesthetic styling by Jorge Corona and the writing from Scotty Young. And really, Jorge Corona has been sort of manifesting Scotty Young's style a bit, right? I mean, yeah, I had to double check it, as I was talking about it, but uh, Scotty Young is writing this, but Jorge Corona is illustrating it. But it really does have that wild, manic Scotty Young stylings to it. Next, we have G.I. Joe number 24. This story arc has been a little bit polarizing. It goes into the magical, into the mystical. It may have a technological root to it, but this character, Crystal Ball, has been sort of manifesting these maybe hallucinations, kind of a hard light construct, hard smoke construct, I guess you might say. You can even see the fight going on here between Crystal Ball. I believe this is Crystal Ball and Risk, the original Energon universe character, Risk. And you can see Crystal Ball there. Yeah. Again, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. It looks like, just to give a little bit away, he calls it his dire tech. So it may have some root in technological origin, but on the other hand, whenever it goes over the deep end like that with the abilities of tech, it basically becomes magic, doesn't it? I mean, maybe it's not tied to some mystical force or anything, but it's the convenience of magic, I think, in my opinion. Up next, we have M1 Monster Racing League number 2. I really enjoyed the heck out of the first issue. And oh man, look at this beautiful cover. I forget who's doing these covers. I don't know if it's Jay Lee, but I believe it is. Yeah, it's right in line with the aesthetic that's going on the interior, so it's got to be Jay Lee. It says there's cover credits too. Jay Lee and June Chung did this cover. And you can see this is being written by Lily Wyndham and Robert Wyndham. And as mentioned, art by Jane Lee, colored by June Chung. The first issue, just to give it away, was beat for beat Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I'm not even kidding, man. Beat for beat the, the post coming to Japan scene for the main character of that film. But hyper stylized in this beautiful Jay Lee aesthetic. Look at the minimalism, like all the big solid background colors and just contrasting against these beautiful bright designs of the main characters. And this gorgeous lead that we have for Monster Racing League. It hasn't jumped the shark yet in terms of its premise. I know that is coming. It's not going to stay a straight sort of racing book. It's going to get wild, and I don't know that that's exactly what I want it to be. If anything, just don't get too wild. I don't know. Speed Racer, like that's as wild as I want you to get. You can take liberties with the physics of things, but keep racing the core of the comic book. Up next, we have All Hail the Pumpkin King. Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, All Hail the Pumpkin King, #1. This is a #1, of course, but it is the continuance of a long-running storyline in the Nightmare Before Christmas comic books, and this book in particular continues off the Battle for the Pumpkin King story arc. That's just based on what I have read about it. I actually have not read Battle for the Pumpkin King. I did check out the previous Nightmare Before Christmas series, which was the Shiver series. I forget the exact name. Wasn't a big fan of it because I wasn't a big fan of the title character, the Shiver character. It's like a zombie polar bear. But I like Jack Skellington, and this is his first Halloween as the Pumpkin King, and he's got to get everything ready and perfect. And if you like Nightmare Before Christmas and you didn't know that there are Nightmare Before Christmas comic books, there you go. And as you saw, this was Tokyo Pop, even though it's continuing a story that I believe was Dynamite. Although, the Shiver series was Dynamite. I don't know if the Battle for the Pumpkin King was a Tokyo Pop series or what. Anyway, this book is a Tokyo Pop series, and this book is continuing a storyline in Battle for the Pumpkin King. So if you don't like being dropped into storylines in the middle of them, keep that in mind. But there's nothing wrong with dipping your toe into the middle of a story, especially if it's being marketed as #1. Hopefully, this will do a good job orienting on what's going on in Halloween. Is it Halloween Town? Halloween Land? Man, I'm such a fake fan, aren't I? I don't even remember the name of the the name of the setting. Lastly, for the floppies this week, we have Junk Punch #2. This is I called it Cyberpunk 2077 meets Tank Girl. I feel like I had a third combination there, but I can't quite remember it. Yeah, manic crack pixie protagonist. The basic premise of what's going on in this book is that there was, some sort of pollution event that caused a lot of people to have tics, to have outward tics. And this character's tic just happens to be her compulsion to punch people in the junk. And so she has decided to use that compulsion to fight evil wherever it may be, or whenever she is drunk, or whenever she is hired to do that, to use her junk punching powers for good, or inclination. It's I don't know. I imagine there's some sort of social commentary there with what's going on with people that sort of diagnose their issues without ever working towards fixing them. It's a somewhat of a raunchy book, but it doesn't get graphic, if that makes sense. And oh no, sorry to give it away. Look at that. Nobody is spared from the jug punching. Well, that was a big spoiler of that, but hopefully you'll still want to pick up this issue. Again, it's just a lot of fun if you like characters like Tank Girl, just sort of wild, maniacal, off the rails comedy. It's not promising anything more than that. There's a plot about a ball going missing. I don't even remember exactly what the point of it was, but it wasn't the point, right? It's not trying to convince you that the plot of this is to, solve the mystery of the main MacGuffin. And just to get some credits here, sorry about that. We have writer Paul Tobin. Artists are Carlos Javier Olivares, and Un Wiesel is illustrating a backup for this issue, so that'll be interesting. Colorist is Francesca Vivaldi, and really big shout out to the colorist, right? Just keeping this super vibrant, super detailed. If you liked, and it is cyberpunk, it does take place in sort of a futuristic city. So if you do like cyberpunk and you want it even a little bit more lighthearted, definitely check out Junk Punch. It's really a fun time, and the aesthetic is pretty cool as well. Lastly, as a bonus for this week, we have Elvira in Monsterland, the collected edition. I bought Elvira in Horrorland on a whim. Man, it might have been last year or maybe early in this year. Really, just because I had a light week that week, and that's kind of why I bought this one as well. I didn't have a lot of pickups, as you could see, so I decided to pick up a trade. I really did love Horrorland. I loved what David Avalone was doing with this character. I love the character. She's absolutely beautiful, and a couple other reasons why I love her as well. This continues off of Horrorland. The basic premise is that there's a remote that was owned by Federico Fellini that will allow people to transport into movies and change their outcomes. And so in the last series, Horrorland, Elvira had to, did I say Vampirella? Elvira, and I might have said Vampirella. Elvira and Monsterland. Elvira has to go into horror movies and basically change them in a way that saves the main characters and fixes them in that regard. But in this one, I just glanced at a few of these first pages. It really wanted to showcase the art here and give a shout out. Artist is, sorry about that. The artist here is Cuber Ball, and of course writer David Avalone and colorist Walter Pereira. I really wanted to give a shout out to the artist here because I was just flipping through this a little bit before I started this video, and he really just illustrates Vampirella so beautifully. I mean, it's not hard to make Vampirella, or I keep saying Vampirella. It's not hard to make Elvira look beautiful and sexy, but he makes her look even more beautiful and sexy. And I wanted to show just this one panel that some people might get a kick out of. Holy Jack Kirby. This is like a sort of Grand Central terminus. It's like probably a convection point for the travel between the between the movie lands, I imagine. And it's referencing, I would guess it's referencing New Gods, right? I thought that was a charming panel. Yeah, David Avalone, he recently did Vampirella's story as well. Sorry, not a I keep saying I have Vampirella on my mind, don't I? Jeez, there's not even a Vampirella this week. He recently did a Red Sonja stories. He did Red Sonja Noir, the Princess and the Plunder story, and it was actually, I thought it was really solid. It was a fantastic one shot. If you love those sort of noir fusions with barbarian fantasy, that's a solid one. And Avalone really, like I said, Avalone really impressed me with Horrorland. I'm down to get into Monsterland, and he has a lot of other Elvira books that I got that right that time. He has a lot of Elvira books that on his credits, so I'm very interested in getting to all of them. For now, just sort of slowly make my way into Monsterland, and that's it. It's a light week. They don't all have to be super heavy, expensive on the wallet weeks. Hopefully, you had a great week, even if it was a light week as well. And I will see you next time. Bye.